Hello, hello. Hello, good afternoon. Nick coming at you here for Moneyline MMA for picks for UFC 322 coming up at Madison Square Garden starting at 5 p.m. with prelims, of course, Central Time. Um, Jose isn't able to make it to this one, and I'm going to go through my picks probably pretty quickly here. Jose might be able to get on and do a separate show himself later, but in any case, I still wanted to hop on and get you guys my picks for UFC 322. As always, I'll bring them in order of confidence. Here at Moneyline MMA, we do a 5 point weight system where our 5 weight pick is our lock of the week. We make 5 picks on the card, 5 weight lock of the week, all the way down to 1 weight in order of confidence. So 5 weight's the most confident, obviously. And as always, we start at the top with our locks of the week, aka my most confident pick. I'm looking right at the main event here. I think in general, it's going to be a card where a lot of dogs are going to be barking. I think be ready for some dogs to win in this card, so be weary as taking too many favorites, if you ask me, especially on the main card. But for now, I'm going to be sticking on the favorite side. I'm going to be taking Islam. Makhachev is my 5 weight pick. Islam currently sitting, at least on FanDuel, at minus 290, almost 3-1 odds to beat Jack in a fight in which he's moving up to welterweight. And I think it's something I'm kind of surprised I'm making the pick and making it so confident. But I just think Islam is another animal, and I think he's going to be able to just pressure his game on the ground as always. And it's going to be too much for Jack. Jack's historically been able to stay on his feet pretty well, even beating Bilal and Gilbert Burns while getting taken down a combined 10 times in those 2 fights. So Jack's been able to deal with that adversity, but I just think Islam's a different beast, and that's kind of why he is such a big favorite here, if you ask me. But I'm taking it, and I'm pretty confident that is easily the best favorite on the main card to take, if you ask me. Moving on to my 4 weight pick, I'm going to be taking Leon Edwards to beat Carlos Prates. This is a huge fight. I really like the five fights on this main card, and honestly, I also wanted to give credit to some of the prelims here. I mean, capping off the prelims, Bo Nickel's going to be exciting to see against Adolfo Vieira, a guy who's got top end jiu-jitsu, so it's like wrestling versus jiu-jitsu almost. Aaron Blanchfield and Tracy Cortez. We'll really see what if Tracy's as good as she thinks she is. We've got a couple of interesting fights early on. Pat Sabatini versus Chepe. That's an underappreciated fight. Chepe is a dog. Pat Sabatini hasn't been as good lately, but wow. So I'm excited for a lot of these fights. But moving in to what I'm taking as my 4 weight, and I think one of the better fights on the main card in general, Leon Edwards versus Carlos Prates. What an interesting matchup. I'm taking Leon Edwards with my 4 weight, though, and I think for the main reasons that I just think he's a technically better fighter. Carlos Prates has definitely got the power and the finishing ability over Leon Edwards, but I just don't think he's got the technicalities. Like, he gets outstruck by almost 1 full strike per minute on UFC stats, and he's got some ability to land or defend a takedown. I don't necessarily think Leon's going to go for wrestling. I just think he's like going to use his technical kickboxing ability and win the fight. I mean, it's 15 minutes, right? I think Leon Edwards has been there and done that with all those 5 round and championship level experience fights. I'm taking the experience. I'm taking the guy with it's technically better here. Leon Edwards, you're going to get him at a dog position as well. He's plus 164. Carlos is a minus 215 favorite. I just don't think you're giving enough credit there. The public is, that is. They just aren't giving enough credit to Leon Edwards when he's done. So give me Leon Edwards, especially as a dog. He's going to beat Carlos Prates. I'm going to say probably by decision, but otherwise KO for sure. 3 weight pick. I'm going to be going down to the opener of the main card. I'm going to be taking Benoit Saint Denis to beat Beneil Dariush. And this is one where it's not necessarily going to be me sitting here being like, oh, Beneil Dariush is past his prime. He's old, blah, blah, blah. I mean, yeah, he's getting older. I still think Beneil Dariush is an amazing fighter, and he's going to bring a tough test to Benoit Saint Denis. But the main reason I'm not too worried is because Benoit's like ability on the ground. He's never been finished. He's got 11 finishes of his own on the ground. So I'm just really not worried about the threat that Beneil brings as jiu-jitsu. And that's usually like one of his super strong suits. He's really not the best striker. I mean, 5 KOs, and then he's gotten KO'd 5 times. So I'm going to take a guy who I think is in general going to be a better striker, at least a more powerful striker with a few more KOs under his belt. I like what Beneil Dariush has been able to do, and yes, he's only lost the top end fighters, but I'm here. I'm riding on Benoit Saint Denis. He's coming off of a submission win against Mauricio Rufy, and I don't know. I'm not saying he submits Dariush, but to me, he's going to win this fight, at least with a unanimous decision for sure. Going down to my 2-weight pick, I'm going to go to the co-main event here finally. And I'll take Valentina. This is, interestingly enough, I believe 2 situations in this card alone where a guy's or a fighter in general is moving up to the next class and challenging for the belt. And in one case, I'm taking the guy who is in the lighter division, Islam. And in this case, I'm going to be taking Valentina, who is the defender in this scenario. I think Valentina is just slightly a better fighter. It goes kind of back to the technicalities thing. I think they're both impressive. I'd lean over on this fight. Like, if anything, it's part of why I have it as my 2-weight, because it's like I want to make a pick on it, but it's so hard to peg women's MMA sometimes. And honestly, I would lean just over like 4.5 rounds. Like, honestly, I feel like it's going to be decision. You could do double chance, like either of them win by decision. I don't know. I could be wrong. There is some finishing ability, but in general, women's MMA, they'll start a little slow. They'll respect each other, I think, for sure. They're not going to throw anything too crazy in the first 10 minutes. And from there, it's a 3-round fight. So, I don't know. I think over on rounds for sure, no matter who wins this fight. I'm leaning Shevchenko with my 2-weight. I just like her striking ability a little more, although Weili puts out a little more volume. I'm not sure the volume is going to be able to counter like the kicking and the kickboxing general ability that Shevchenko brings. So we'll see. I'm going to take Valentina 2-weight. My 1-weight is Sean Brady versus Michael Morales. Wow. This is probably, in my opinion, the most exciting. I mean, obviously the belt fights, the main event, right? But Sean Brady and Michael Morales is such cool matchmaking. I'm probably the fight I'd be most excited for otherwise. I mean, both of these dudes have been on tears. Sean Brady only losing to Bilal Muhammad, and otherwise just completely dominating. 8-1 in the UFC, and Michael Morales is undefeated in the UFC, 7-0, and he's finished his last 2 opponents in the first round by KO. Sean Brady is coming off a submission win in the 4th round where he was the main event versus Leon Edwards. But wow, he was kind of walking through Leon Edwards, and it just took him a few rounds to get there. So I am so excited to see this fight. And interestingly enough, Sean Brady is the -148 favorite. Michael Morales, the +116 dog. I feel like it's because Sean Brady's maybe gotten a little bit more hype behind him when he beat Leon. But in general, like, Michael Morales is kind of having the flashier finishes. Also, Sean Brady's been... no, never mind. I was going to say I thought Sean Brady was a little more active, but he's not. They've both only fought once this year and once in 2024. So neither of them are more active than the other. But I will be leaning, my 1-weight officially will be on Sean Brady. I think Michael Morales might have what it takes, though. And that's why I was less confident in Sean Brady than I am in Valentina. It's a tough pick to make, but I just think Michael Morales, beating Neil Magny is great, and beating Gilbert Burns is great, but I'm not sure it's quite the level of Sean Brady. Like, we're talking Sean Brady gets a title shot potentially, especially for a fight like this. It might be a title contender fight. So I'm just saying, I think Sean Brady is going to win this fight, but you got to be careful. Michael Morales could be a dog. Well, he is a dog, but he could be like a true dog, like faster than we might think, because he's still pretty young too. He's only 26. So that's the last point I'll make, is that he's only 26. Sean Brady is well into his prime at 32 years old. I think Michael Morales is a dog, but he might have a couple things to learn first before he gets to that top tier. But who knows? Maybe he's another prodigy. So those are my 5 picks. Like I said, Jose might log in a little bit later and do his. But otherwise, thanks you guys for watching. Of course, we'll be back next week. And until the rest of the, I think we're going to have only 4 more cards after this one. So we'll be in touch for all of those until the end of the year.